Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Butler Did It. I'm your host, Adam Butler. So appreciate you guys being here. Listen, got a good one for you guys today, man. Have you seen the film Residue on Netflix? If you haven't, you need to check it out, especially if you're a DC native. And forget that, if you're a black person and you understand gentrification and issues like that, or you want to learn more about gentrification and issues like that, then you need to check out this film on Netflix. And I am so humbled and blessed to be joined by the writer, director, and producer of the film, Merawi Gerima. And I'm also blessed to be joined by one of the stars of the film, Dennis Lindsey. So dope. Cool brothers, man. They talked about a lot. Also, the film is distributed by DuVernay and her production company, Array. Big things are happening for the city right now. So blessed to be joined by these brothers. So listen, I'm not going to waste too much more of your time. We're going to jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Merawi Gerima, Dennis Lindsey, the crew from Residue. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man? How you?
What's going on?
Cool. What's up? Hey, so look, I'm I will try to be as professional as I can in this one, right? But this film, you know, I watched it twice with my wife, right? We both DC natives.
Yeah.
She's from Uptown, I'm from Southeast.
Okay,
And I'm from 46th Place, Horseshoe, over there by Davis Elementary.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Where you from?
I'm from Southeast, we're around MLK area.
Okay.
In the road, Trumbo. So yeah.
Yes, Shipboat. There we go. See, so the audience, you're going to have to be prepared for this because there's going to be a lot of this today. That's why I said I want to be as professional as I can, but this film really resonated with me as a boy from D.C., grew up in D.C., left for a while, didn't move to California, but moved to PG County, right, which is sometimes it's like moving to California for some people, right. and then returning and feeling like I moved to a foreign country is a weird thing, right? So I really want to get into that. But before we get started, Merawi, I want you to just kind of like break down the film for people that haven't seen it. You don't got to give away no crazy spoilers or anything like that. But for the folks that haven't had an opportunity to see this film, just kind of give us a quick synopsis of it.
Yeah, well, first let me say, Residue is by and about, DC natives, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in the joint is from DC except one character her character is from out of town, and so she's also from out of town. But as Dennis, who's on this call with us, Dennis is Southeast through and through, I'm Northeast through and through, and, that's what we try to do. Our drive and motivation was to be as authentic as possible because you never, ever get a chance to see DC represented on the screen in a big way like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
White folks, they have you thinking DC is a black city. You know what I mean? The types of movies they put out. I mean, they have you thinking DC is a white city. Yeah. The types of representation we see is just, politics. We see, shows about the president, shows about politicians, shows about monument. You know what I mean? Like, meanwhile, DC is the blackest city around, and you'll never see that, So anyway, Residue is about a young man. His name is Jay, grew up in the city. He goes away, and for a couple years he leaves and he comes back looking to make a film about his neighborhood, his childhood, the way he grew up and his friends and all that. And when he gets back, he finds his neighborhood has changed beyond recognition. And basically all his childhood friends scattered to the wind, So what do you do at that point? The film is really about him trying to put the pieces together. His folks, and then his own place in the city.
I really felt the relationship between Dante and Jay, right? And I'll start with Jay just for a second because the gentrification piece we're going to get into, but there was a personal piece in there where I felt there was some survivor's remorse going on. Here's a guy who moved away, California, tried to chase his dream, coming home to pursue a dream, and not only does he feel like, oh my God, the friends that I grew up with, they aren't living like me. Their lifestyles are completely different than mine. But I also felt like Dante looked at him, and Dennis, I'll go to you. I felt like Dante looked at him almost like, I don't know you anymore, and I don't trust you. Do you think that's what the character was feeling about him?
Yeah, more so. I believe that when actually reading the script and what Merawi wanted, it was most like, I don't trust you. Like, you, regardless of what you may have done or before you went out of town to leave the city for. You coming back, and now all of a sudden you want to know what Demetrius said. You didn't ask about he was gone. You didn't write or call back home to see how I was doing or Demetrius doing. Now you want to come back and quote unquote write this film about the neighborhood that you left. So that's like it's more so protecting the neighborhood, but more so like I'm still cool with you, you still my man, but what is your purpose? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why?
Right. It's not full on beef, you know what I'm saying? It's not full on confrontation. There's still a little bit of love there between the two.
Yeah. I felt like it was a lot of love between them, actually. I felt like almost Dante was trying to teach Jay a lesson. Like you just explained. It's like it's like you can't come back here and exploit us. What makes you, in a way, and help me out here, what makes you any different than these white folks that's moving here and exploiting our city? You feel like you're doing something for the city by making a film about it, but what are you really doing? And where have you been? You know, where have you been?
Which is a valid question. You know, what makes you different from them? You know what I mean? Because it's not guaranteed that you will be. You know, I went to film school with folks, of course, a lot of white folks who, you know, in the way that, you know, they think about what stories will make money, you know, they checking boxes off, you know, black character, you know what I mean, the hood, the ghetto. These are all like boxes that you can always cash in on, you know what I'm saying? You can always rely on, you know, box office success for, you know, things like that, you know, precious type stories and stuff. And so basically that's there. But then you also see black folks who have learned that is also bankable, you know what I mean? Or in one way or another, you know, have been turned into, you know, they want to make a movie, they want to help their neighborhood, but the way they do it, they're not doing any different than, you know, people who come in to exploit. And so that, to me, Delonte is critical, man. Somebody who's like, what makes you think, you know, how are you different? You know, how are you not exploiting us in this moment?
Yeah. When I look at the gentrification piece of the story, which is really the backbone of the story, and obviously a thing that's going on in Washington, D.C. right now. I look outside of my neighborhood, literally I'm by a window right now, and I remember this neighborhood growing up and how different it looked, right? And how we used to ride by here. And I noticed, you know, I know this neighborhood and now I live in it. And it's completely different. And my neighbors are completely different, right? And I know some of these people are good people. You know, they're good people. What do you think people that are gentrifiers of the city, right? People that move to the city from other places, what do you think they will take from this film? What do you think they will, what do you want them to learn from a film like this? Is about I like to say about the original real DC.
Brother, that's not our problem. You know what I'm saying? Our focus, our main focus is what will Black DC take away from this? You know, how can we in the most focused way tell the story, you know, our story, and you know what I mean, in the most specific terms that like DC people will certainly pick up on. You know what I mean? The language, you know what I'm saying, like the fashion, you know, the personalities. I wanted to ring true to DC as you know, as much as I possibly can, and let the rest fall where it may. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hopefully it's positive for people, but I can't account for that. For me, it's like this is through and through. Like I said, through and through. The priority is to make this joint as authentic as possible. You know, because we speaking to each other, and if anybody else happens to listen in on a conversation and get something out of it, bless them. It's good for them. You know what I'm saying? But my focus, this is the focus.
Were you inspired by the Don't Mute DC movement and things that were going on? I noticed that you used some of the footage from the U Street uprising, I like to call it. Yeah. You know, were you inspired by the Don't Mute DC movement?
Well, I mean, to me, like, bruh, there's no question. The way, you know, that thing went down with that white dude trying to shut down, you know what I'm saying? The whatchamacallit?
The Metro
PCS on Georgia Ave. Yeah. And kicked up a whole hornet's nest. To me, that was the most beautiful reaction, man, that I haven't seen in any other cities, you know, who are dealing with the same stuff. It was like, oh, nah, hell nah. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, it reflects that, like, our culture is one of the best weapons that we have against this, because suddenly, you know what I'm saying, people are like, no, there's no way we're going to lose it. You know, taking go-go classes, you know, I mean, beat your feet classes, blasting go-go every which way, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful embracing, you know what I'm saying, of our culture, which for a second looked like it might have been slipping away, you know what I mean? Right. But now it's like, by learning the culture, we also learn the fight that we're up against. It's not happening under our noses without us being aware of it, you know, that kind of stuff. And so to me, it's results in this whole beautiful kind of cultural, you know, kind of uprising, like you said. And of course, Don't Me DC was massive to that. Yeah. You know, Mochella is massive in that. You know, Long Live Go-Go, massive, yada yada. All the stuff that these people are doing, it's literally everybody chipping away at it from their particular corners and stuff. And maybe, you know, D, you can get in on that.
Yeah, definitely.
No, to back up what Merawi said, that's very true. Like when I feel like that really likes to kick the hornet's nest to open some things up. And I'm thinking about when we was all younger, going to Go-Go, how Go-Go's had the bad rep. Because I'm saying people don't I was going to Go-Go like that. So when they stopped shutting Go-Go's down, they was actually taking that from us. You know what I'm saying? They was Go-Go from us started with shutting the Go-Go's down. So when they actually stopped, like the music, like when that, come on, if you're from DC or you ever been to DC, you know that Metro PCS store.
Yeah, it crank every day.
All times of the day.
Every day, nonstop Go-Go, nonstop music from DC. Yeah. And it's like you shut that one cornerstone of DC down. It's like y'all can take the Go-Go's away from us. Y'all can weak the Lord fans. Y'all can stop this and that. But you can't. Come on, man. That's the only thing we standing for. So the whole movie came about. That was like, it was amazing to see how everybody came together. Granted, things may happen, but see how we all came together and took up blocks. Like we was saying, the city was swarming, and I loved that. And I feel like that really that made me smile after a while. I'm saying, see me smile. Coming together, everybody partying, dancing. It's like that. Come with the whole hashtag DC still ours. Like you saying, you could take something with, but this is still. That's what I took from peripheral. Like Mara said with the movie, our job is not really make gentrifiers see it. You know what I'm saying? If they are, I'm saying it's not to make them see it. It's about for us to see it. It's about the people from DC that actually see it and really pay attention. Because it's not this wasn't the average drugs and violence. This is not the bad thing that happened in DC. This had a message behind that's really going on in DC. We always think about the bad things going on. But with Marawi, he stood on this vision, and it became a blessing to really show like what's going on, and everybody really can relate to it.
Yeah,
and that's what we really be really authentic with it.
You know, speaking of relating to characters, Dennis, you know, and here's the typical actor question for you, but like when you saw the character of Dante, like what parts of him did you relate to? You know, because I think we can relate to all of the characters in a way, but what parts of Dante did you personally relate to?
Dante is DC, it's me, it's you, it's everybody who's from. I'm saying it's all the Pop family members I know, older guys I grew up around, even friends I grew up around. All that just animosity taking a piece of everything that I knew and just growing up about. Because when it came to acting, I'm saying short little story. Me and Marawi was roommates at Florida A&M FAMU, so that's how me and him knew each other. We used to know together for years.
Word.
So when he called me, we always connected over the years. This is 2007, so 2006, so 2007 we lived together. So we always connected over the years. So 10 years later, he called me with the film, driving from California. My mind wasn't thinking about the film. I'm like, why are you driving to California?
Yeah.
Knowing that he's already basically shooting the film on the way home to shoot the film in DC.
Right. Literally, that footage from the opening is me driving back to LA. That was us filming as we drove.
Nice.
He called me doing that, and I'm like, no problem. Let me know when and where. It wasn't no question. I didn't know nothing about it. It was just the love for my brother. So when it came to acting and reading, I'm reading and trying to act. He told me like, don't act. You know the lines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying be you, but be this type of person.
Yeah.
I need to be this. So that's when it came about. It's like I know that person. I know a lot of Delantes out in the city.
Yeah. Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
So see, D, we ain't never spoke about this, but there's a scene you know, in the film where unnamed character, you know, kind of passes or whatever. And me and D later on was getting voiceover, which you hear later in the end of the film. About, you know, where was you? And I gave Dennis like a couple lines, you know what I'm saying? Where was you? You know, you went back, now you come back, all you care about is your movie. You know, that's like the lines. Yeah. But man, when we was recording, I don't know if you remember this, we went off to the side. It was just me and you. I had the boom mic. And like we had run it the rest of the time, but this particular time, man, you went somewhere, dog. You took it somewhere else, and that's the version that's in the film. Because I could tell, son, you was getting teary eyed. You was talking about, I was the pallbearer. You know what I'm saying? Like I was the one who was. You don't remember that, bro, but I just remember you took it to a place that just had me like, shit, bro. Like sun is tapping in, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that scene, I know exactly what scene you're talking about at the end. And you know, that was a part of me. You know, I had a friend I grew up with, rest in peace to Mo. And I remember I came back to the city after living in Largo for a while, right? And we had a similar conversation where I was different, and he said some similar things to me, and I don't want to spoil the conversation, because I think people need to check out this film. I really do, especially if you're from the city, you need, if you're from a Black community, you need to check out this film, and if you're not from a Black community, you need to check out this film, right? But that conversation really hit home with me, because I had a similar conversation with a friend of mine that was like, "Yo, I've been here in the trenches. Where you been?" And that can sit heavy with you. You know what I mean? When you wrote the character, Jay Merawi, what were you trying to get out of him? Like, and first of all, was this character based on you? I didn't ask you that. Was that character based on you in your life?
Yeah, man. You know, very much. You know, for me, it's a lot of, so one, the trajectory, like, coming back from film school to write a film about your neighborhood, like that's clearly what we were doing, you know what I'm saying? So at a certain point, the whole thing is really about our process. Yeah. But it's also about my fears and my insecurities, you know what I'm saying? Coming back, like I said, not knowing if I was coming back as, somebody who was taking advantage, you know what I mean? Not, really suspecting my own motivations, you know what I'm saying? Not trusting myself to a degree. Of course, when I came back, when I got to my neighborhood, it was all love, you know what I'm saying? Like, people was happy to see me, oh, you doing a movie? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, it's about, oh, I bet, what do you need? How can we help?
Yeah.
But, the writing process was really about me, like, I want to make a film, no matter what happens in Netflix and all this stuff, this is cool, but like, the main priority was to put as much of my community into a film as possible before it was wiped out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the people I know, the places I know, the culture I know, I want to document it all. Yeah. In whatever way we can. We found ways, it just so happened it came together in a story that makes sense. But even if it didn't, I would have just been shooting everybody. You know what I'm saying? Filming everybody, just to have a document.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you go back now, bro, and that's what gave the whole production. People like, when did they shoot? Because we swept in and out in 2 weeks. We was in and out just like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, you know what I'm saying? Troopers.
Yeah.
But we had no choice. We had no choice, bro. Because if you go back now and look at the places we shot, they gone, they different.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? We met a few, Mama Hasnatu, who plays Miss Cook.
I was going to ask you about her. Yeah.
Yeah, she plays Miss Cook. She's a well-known member in the community. You know what I'm saying? And with the dreadlocks, etc., she passed away in the first summer we came to shoot. She passed away. Yeah. And R.I.P. to her, because she's incredible. She blessed the film.
Man, she was phenomenal, man.
Oh man.
Yeah. We had a not the owner Marawi. We had a scene where me and her had dialogue actually in person, hours or so before she ever passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you've seen the movie, the part when I come in the house when she's in the table with Jay and talking, it was actually kind of like dialogue with me and her together.
Mm-hmm.
And doing those parts with her, I told Marawi, I actually felt like I was like getting into it with my grandmother, because it was the restraint and restriction, but that's how she was. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't feel like acting. It felt like this lady was my mother's mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she had a beautiful, and she had so much of a beautiful soul just being around her off camera, and you just knew it, you felt it. Mm-hmm. It's like one of that. It's like the mother Erykah Badu or like that. This lady, and she had type of energies around her. So I was blessed to be around her, blessed to even be in her presence when we was doing acting, because she definitely had that grandmother or motherly feeling that you just wanted to be around.
Yeah, no doubt. You feel it you feel it just on screen. You can feel it as an audience as well. You mentioned something earlier, Marawi, about losing that, right? Like having to archive things before it goes away. And even as you said in that moment, it made me sad, right? Because DC gentrification, I think, is a unique thing. Now, I can't speak for other cities. You know, I don't know what Chicago's gentrification is, or Brooklyn, just, you know, New York gentrification. I can speak for DC. And it is like, wow, there was a thing there. There was a building there that I remember has been there. It's been a DC landmark, or even, you know, the name you meant. I know there was a part in the film they talked about Noma and things like that, right? Just sort of rewriting the history of the city. Talk to me about what it meant to not only make this film, which you spoke on, but to have it carried on a large platform like Netflix, and to be part of Array and the whole Ava DuVernay thing and all that. Like, how did that even come about? How did you get the film to this level?
Well, you know, all that goes to Ava. You know, the real question for real is like, how did Ava create what she's created? You know what I'm saying? Because it's just her. You know what I'm saying? There's really, when it comes to Black film distribution, there's maybe 2 companies out there that are doing, you know, this kind of work. So, you know, when you look at like, for example, us in January of this year, we had our world premiere at a film festival called Slam Dance. And that was really our launch pad. You know, we invited Array because it's at the same time as Sundance. Yeah. And so all kind of distributors and everybody, they go to Utah for that festival. So we was like, if y'all in town, we have a screening on so-and-so, come by if you can. So they came by. Yeah. And then, so ever since then, we won, you know, a couple of awards at the festival, you know, it's kind of successful in that way. And then, we've been talking ever since then. Yeah. And then, you know, they became our distributor. But let me tell you, man, if they were not there, you know what I'm saying? Or if they did not exist in this kind of capacity, bro, like me and Dennis would be pushing this joint, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Passing out flyers, you know what I'm saying? Like self-distributing, because there's really, you know, there's not too many distributors brave enough to take on a film like this. And when I say a film like this, I mean a Black story. Yeah. Which, you know, is not, you know, all like guns and drugs and violence, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually just trying to tell, you know, a truthful, honest story about Black folks, because they don't see, you know, what they call commercial value in it. You know what I mean? And we know that's not true, you know. Yeah. People are very, very they want to see stories that reflect, you know, kind of their, you know, lived experience. And so it's a whole discussion, but that's and, you know, like you mentioned, Dennis mentioned this earlier, you know, it's a quiet, it's, you know, what you guys alluded to, it's not a, you know, a thug life film about some dude coming up from the gutter and making it and all this and that, or dying at the end or whatever. It's actually a very quiet film. It takes patience to watch this film. And I say that as a compliment. You know, you have to, this film makes you think. I had to watch it twice. Seriously. The first time I watched it, I was just tripping off. Oh, I know that place. Oh, that looked familiar. Right. Okay, I get it. You know, a lot of the imagery I had to kind of watch again and really let it sink in. And then that's when I started getting the feelings that I got from the film, where it's like, oh, wow, this film's about me. This is about my people, you know? And that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing. You know, just to add to that, sorry not to cut you off.
No, perfect. You're good.
I was gonna say, I think, you know, it's good. I also, whenever I watch it, I get something different out of it. And for me, it's like, on one hand, you know, we wanted to, you know, our like I said, our main objective is to push the culture. You know what I'm saying? As far and wide as possible. So just to second, you know, follow up to your question is like, getting it on Netflix is massive for that. You know, I'm proud. I couldn't be more proud, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm able to push it, you know, the culture very far and wide. And but at the same time, it's important for us to make a film that does challenge you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. To kind of, you know, I think people see it and, you know, they expect, Netflix, they expect like polished Hollywood product. But if you knew, you know, what we didn't have, you know what I'm saying, when we made this film in terms of resources and money, like it was literally made with basically nothing, but, you know, a sense of urgency that, you know, that we had to do it no matter what. Yeah. And so I think when people don't see that Hollywood polish, they're like, oh, you know, it's just like they did it wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when actually, if you look at any of my parents' films, it'll give you a sense of like, it's a whole nother world of filmmaking, which really about like, you know, I believe that you can, you know, sit through this story and get something out of it and be challenged by it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. and also find a deeper kind of, a deeper relationship to this story. Cause you're right. You know what I mean? Like it can reflect what you have experienced as a Black person growing up in DC. And in many ways, you'd be hard pressed to find movies like that. They're rare.
Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely rare. It's rare to tell a story about us in Washington, D.C. I think that the DC story is a very unique story, down from, the way we dress, the way we talk, how small the city is, the relationship with the city, with other places that surround the city. We've always been very isolated here for a long time. We're very isolated here, and we had our own culture and our own way of doing things. And I really think that you brothers really captured that. And I really want to say to Dennis, brother, the moment Dante stepped on camera, and I'm not saying this just because you're here, bro. I'm glad you're here, because I want to say this to you. The moment he stepped on camera, creeping around it, you know what I'm saying? And and I was like, what? Again, it was like, yo, I could put myself in that scenario where it's like, because like, who is that over there? And I'm like, oh, I've been in a situation where it's like, oh, that's my boy, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But like, you really did a phenomenal job, just even from the acting, even from like your eyes, man. I really believed you. I really believed that you were a living, breathing piece of this film, that character was a living, breathing person that I could run into on the streets, man. And I just want to give you your flowers while you're here, bro, because you did an excellent job, man. Seriously, you did an excellent job.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And people tell me like, yeah, you did a good job, but it's like I still look at it as a favor for my brother Marawi. Like, all this just came through as a favor. He called me up. I didn't give him no hassle.
This brother has never acted before.
Wow.
Yeah, never. This is my first time. Of course, when you're younger, you did church plays and all that, but that's as far as I ever went. But like,
they trained you well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when it came to this, and then I tell people I also was spoiled, and I feel like everybody else with the crew that was spoiled, because the way Merawi made everybody feel comfortable. I knew what to expect from him. Yeah. He knew what to expect from me. I didn't have to really deal with no up the butt any person. I'm saying no disrespect to nobody how they do their job, but this Merawi knew how to. He knew how to talk to everybody. He knew how to talk to me. He knew how to handle me. So I knew him. He knew he was gonna get from me. I knew I was gonna get from him, and I just tried my best to do it. And if he did feel like I wasn't the best, he put me to the side, tell me what to do. And sometimes he tell me what to do and don't even let my brother Obi, shout out to the dude who played Jay. He don't even know. He just want to see how raw it's going to be amongst one another. So it wasn't really like take 3, take 4. It was like, nah, I needed that organically right there. So
Yeah.
So that's what it was. And like I said, Dante was just, like I said, it was a part of me. It was a part of my family, part of everybody from DC, people from Southeast, Northeast, Uptown, Southwest. It was, I try to keep it as authentic as he wanted it. And that's what I tried to do my best. And I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that.
Nah, man, you did a great job, bro. Go ahead, Mara.
And also, I'm glad you brought it up, because you're right. It's in the alleyway that, that scene when Dante comes in and the film really comes to life. It's their relationship that really is the film. You know what I'm saying? The film is really about them two. You know what I mean? Yeah. The yin and the yang. And everything before that is just kind of, necessary setup, But like it kind of kicks into, another gear once we're introduced to Dante and then how he relates to OB, who plays Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. Brothers, I really appreciate you all taking the time out to talk with me today, man. I was so excited to get you all on this one. I said to my wife the moment I saw the film, I said, yo, I gotta get him on the show. I gotta get him on the show, man. Anything about my city, especially something as big as this, it's an honor. Please continue to tell. I don't want to put you in a box, bro. You know what I mean? You're going to make the films that you want to make. You know what I'm saying? But please continue to tell stories about this city. We need it.
I got no choice, brother. I was just thinking about the other day. We talk about this. Like, every time we sit to even put pen to paper, it's nothing but DC coming out, because that's all we know anyway,
Yeah.
So, but we push it. We pushing the culture at all times, bro.
It is, man. There it is, man.
And I want to thank, before we dip, I want to thank Marawi and give him flowers while he's still here.
Let's do that. Yeah, man.
I tell you this in your face. I'm going to tell you this on the podcast as well.
Right.
Bro, I love you, man. What you doing for the culture? Man. We catch each other all opportune times.
Right.
I love you, bro. What you doing for the culture? What you doing for the city, man? Like, keep pushing, bro. Like, I already told you my vision for you, what you, I think you got, what your purpose is, man. You know, I'm saying, I'm rocking with you, man. Keep doing it, man. Blessing. It's a blessing, bro.
Right. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Love you too, man.
Hey, and Dennis, keep doing your thing, man. Act, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate
Like,
that.
man, you got something, bro. I'm telling you, you got something, man. Fellas.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
No problem, man. Fellas, thank you so much for doing this, man.
Yes, sir.
I hope to have you back on.
Yes, sir.
With the next one.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right, fellas.
Yeah, take care.